Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing really well. Welcome to 30th January Daily Decodes, and I hope everyone is doing extremely well on this good morning. And let me just check the audio and video is clear for everyone. So audio and video is clear to everyone. Good morning, everyone. And I hope your new morning is starting with the new Josh for your continuous preparation for your civil services and the exams you're preparing for. So we are almost on the end of the first month of 2025, and the month has been so fast. The year has been so fast. We don't even know how 30 days of the first month has gone. Tomorrow we'll complete the entire January. January would be ended, and the second month will start. We are very close to prelims now, so I hope that your prelims preparation has started. Good morning, Fly High. Good morning, Vikas Dokale. Good morning to everyone. Okay. So the online guidance program, offline and online guidance program, OGB 2026, the batch is starting. It's not starting on 16th February. Now it is starting on 17th February 2025. This is an offline batch based in Bangalore, which you can join, and online, obviously, you can join from anywhere. And for all details, you can scan the QR code also or call on the Insights number, which is given on the website. You can also go on website. Multiple courses from mains to prelims to specifically series related to your test series are available, which you can join. And APEC batch is also going on, which is related to your prelims. So there are multiple batches which you can join. So in this context, let's move towards the important thought for the day. Thought for the day is, I've tried to have a different image today. Hopefully you will like it. We cannot solve problems with the kind of thinking we employed when we came up with them. So it's a wonderful quote. It's a wonderful quote and thought by Albert Einstein. So Albert Einstein said that when you are thinking, when you come up with a problem, okay, this is the problem. And in the same way, if you are deploying or employing your mind to find the answer, it will not happen. So for answers and solution, you need to have a out of box thinking. Sometimes you will obviously get the answers very easily, but sometimes we need to employ, put a lot of faith in ourselves, faith in our abilities, and to try to do something which might be unorthodox in nature. And for that, we need to have out of box thinking. So in this context, the quote talks about that we need to have a thinking which is solution oriented. Being problem oriented is very easy. This is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. But solution oriented is a better thing for the system, which is also required in civil services. It's very easy to pinpoint problems from outside, but when you are in the system, under the system, or working with the system, then you need to find solution to make that better. And that is a very important thing in government services, or for that matter, even in life. Okay. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Shalu. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So moving towards the important news for today. Supreme Court orders a stop on manual scavenging in 6 metro cities. Scavenging by now should be dead. Okay, it should be completely stopped, but it is still being practiced, and Supreme Court had given a ruling in 2023, and it is again putting a ruling in this that it has to be manual scavenging needs to be stopped in 6 metro cities. So this tells that the implementation of the ground has been poor, that Supreme Court again in 2025 has to say that manual scavenging has to stop. So this is a very degrading practice which should not be done. People put in sievers to take out all the garbage, because of which sievers are not able to work properly. There's a problem of low oxygen, asphyxiation, and many people die also because of this. So when we talk about the our freedom of equality, our fraternity, brotherhood, and everything, and at the same time manual scavenging is happening, it doesn't go very well. Similar problem was rat hole mining. If you remember, we had covered that also in Daily Decodes. So rat hole mining, manual scavenging, this needs to be completely stopped. Otherwise, we are not giving the dignity and the different employment opportunities to these people. And most importantly, the issue of dignity. Second is ISRO's 100th launch lifts Navik satellite, very important, from our communication point of view, like if you know GPS, so GPS is a system of America which has around 31 satellites. GLONASS Russia has, BeiDou China has. Similarly, we have our NAVIC system for regional communication system. It's something like that. You use GPS, so NAVIC is mostly used for strategic purposes. So in this, a satellite has been launched, NAV-02, NAV-02, and it has become the 100th launch lift of NAVIC, 100th launch which lifts the NAVIC satellite. Rooftop solar installation scheme reaches 8.5% of the 1 crore house target. So we are lagging behind. This scheme basically started at the Ayodhya inauguration, Ayodhya temple. At that point of time it had come, and now the implementation of scheme has been very poor in the terms. It's very slow. And similarly, there's one more news, that is MGNREGA should not be left down. The amount of payment has been reduced. It is not matching the inflation. And since because of payment delays, the rural youth or rural population which used to be there in MGNREGA, they are not interested in MGNREGA. And as per the editorial, this is purposefully being done by the current government because they feel that this scheme was started by the previous government dispensation. So we'll talk about it. What the author talks about this, or the editorial talks about. In Prelims Decode, we'll talk about what is NAVIC and what is MGNREGA, very important. We'll also talk about what is the atomic clock and a little bit of cryogenic engine. Okay, mostly cryogenic technology. Why cryogenic? Around 2 to 3 lines to make you understand. So let's move towards the first important news. Supreme Court orders a stop on manual scavenging in 6 metro cities. Now, even in today's time, the Supreme Court in 2025 has to come and tell that manual scavenging should be immediately stopped in the metro cities. And they're talking about metro cities, which we say metro cities which we take as the epitome of development and infrastructure creation, where more modern thought and liberal thought has to be there. We apparently think it is there, but at the same time, the Supreme Court is talking about manual scavenging, which by now we should not even be talking about it, but it is still existing. So it has ordered immediate halt to manual scavenging and hazardous sewer cleaning in 6 major metropolitan cities, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Now these are the top cities where the maximum number of opportunities exist in employment and career, but at the same time this is also the cities, metropolitan cities, where this dark side exists, where manual scavenging is still happening. Okay, so it was delivered by special bench of justices, and it's asking for full implementation. This is the most important act. Prohibition of employment as manual scavenging and their Rehabilitation Act, which bans the inhuman practice. Now, if you see, this is a 2013 act. Even if we take from 2013, more than 12 years have been passed, and still we are waiting for its complete. And this also we are talking about only in metropolitan cities. When manual scavenging would be completely eradicated from a country, it's a long game, we still feel. And if Supreme Court is still saying in 2025 that we need to stop this, this is not good if India wants to become a developed nation. We are talking about Vikasit Bharat and, developed nation, infrastructure creation. At the same time, you have some labor which is working, not labor, people who are working in manual scavengers. We are planning to buy a $4 billion radar, and so much of technology development is happening, from artificial intelligence to UPI to fintech, of creating indigenous weapon, but at the same time this dark and harsh reality of manual scavenging is there. So if we see India seems to be as a churning country in which the development is happening, at the same time this harsh realities from khap, panchayat to manual scavenging, all these are existing. So inequality to a large amount of inequality to a small amount of population which has huge amount of wealth and which dominates the entire country is still existing. So this is something which India needs to look and make it better. So decision delivered by special bench of justice to ensure full implementation of prohibition of employment as manual scavenger. This implementation needs to be done. Moving forward on this, so the petition, like the person who has put in petition that this should be stopped in metropolitan cities, the person was Dr. Balram Singh, and he said manual sewer cleaning by completely stopped in the 6 cities, and the state must file affidavits by February 13, 2025. So states will file affidavit by February 13, 2025, and they will say how they have been able to implement it, detailing the measures taken to eradicate the practices. Again, I am saying This is not a very good state of affairs. One, this problem of manual scavenging. Then second problem of rat hole mining, that also we had covered in Daily Decodes. This rat hole mining happens in northeast areas like it happens in Assam, Meghalaya, and all these people looking for this coal. They dig, and they even use their bare hands to take out coal, and it's very deadly. And this rat hole miners were also used in Silkara tunnel when the miners were they got entangled there. And then third important issue is of pollution. I'm talking about some basic things: rat hole mining, scavengers, and pollution in North India. This is something which we need to work on, because in North, specifically, if I take the example of Delhi, so many embassies are there, and Delhi is the capital of the country, and if the capital of the country is continuously under pollution, it will give an image to the world that the capital is not secured in terms of their health. So these are certain areas which we need to work upon. Okay, I've got two other issues: rat hole miners and Delhi pollution. This is also the government needs to work upon, and it shouldn't be Supreme Court and every now and then Supreme Court telling the government, please do this. This is the job of the executive to implement. Now the center report claims, and this is highly questionable, it says center report claims 465 out of 775 district reported 0 cases of manual scavenging. But the amicus curiae K. Parameshwar says that this data might be incorrect, because many of these districts and places do not have right collection data methodology. Okay, they lack monitoring committees, and making data accuracy highly questionable. So they don't have the right mechanism to get the data. They don't have the monitoring committees. So center saying that 465 out of 775 districts, 0 manual scavenging. This person says in this 465 which you are talking about, many of these districts don't even have a proper monitoring committee, proper monitoring system that manual scavenging is happening or not. So this data might be incorrect. That is what. So this is amicus curiae. So what is amicus curiae? Amicus curiae is a Latin word for friend of the court. So he is not legally part of the case, but he can provide his information. So he refers to a person or organization that is not party legally to a case, but he is allowed to assist the courts. And amicus curiae is a Latin term which means friend of the court, which you can use. Now moving forward on this, judiciary stand on the issue. Supreme Court had earlier ruled in 2023 that manual scavenging must be completely eradicated due to its fatal consequences. In 2023 it told about, 2023 said completely eradicated, 2023 gone, 2024 gone, in 2025 now it is saying at least completely eradicate from 6 metropolitan cities. Just imagine, 2023 completely eradication, 2023 gone, 2024 gone, 2025 now we are, and 2025 they are saying at least completely eradicate or stop in the 6 metropolitan cities. So this is what has been the implementation of it. Okay, so the manual scavenging must be completely eradicated due to its fatal consequences. Court observed that the claims of fraternity, equality, dignity that we talk about in our constitution and giving dignity to everyone, it will not exist when you have people who are being forced to go to sewers, under sewers, to take out this garbage because they don't have any other means of living. There have been multiple documentaries and those such emotional stories which tells us that how these people are forced to do, because they don't have any other jobs, they don't have any other employment opportunities, and since they don't have any other opportunities, they have to do this manual scavenging. So that is a very dire strait. And these people died because of asphyxiation in sewers. What is asphyxiation? Because there is a lack of oxygen, and because of that these people die because of lack of oxygen. This is your asphyxiation. So bench warned of strict enforcement of it in October 2023 and all necessary measures to ensure compliance. By 2025, Supreme Court has said at least remove this and stop this from the metropolitan cities. Let's see, in February, the next month, in the states will come up and they will put their, that what measures they have taken. Then we'll cover this news that what Supreme Court had said and what state and how states have responded. So Supreme Court directive marks a major step towards ending manual scavenging practice that continues despite legal prohibition. So despite legal prohibition, this practice continues, and this is something which is not the fault of Supreme Court. It is the fault of the government of India or the fault of states, whoever is implementing it, that they are not able to implement on the ground. And if it is happening, then either the executive, they are not putting proper implementation of the act. So we need strict enforcement of 2013 Act. affected workers receive rehabilitation and alternate employment opportunities. See, this is most important. Stopping, for example, there is a manual scavenger. You stopped him that you will not do this, XYZ. So stopping is fine, but if you don't give him other alternative employment opportunities, then it is useless, because from manual scavenging, say he was able to make say 5,000, 10,000 rupees a month, but you stop it and you don't give him other employment opportunities, then he or she will probably go back for that and try to do that illegally also, because they don't have any other opportunities. So rehabilitation and other employment opportunities is very necessary so that this continues. So upcoming February 13 compliance deadline will determine the effectiveness of implementation across the 6 cities. So let's see how the implementation happens and how state gives state what they give in the affidavit. So a question is there. The Supreme Court recent ruling to end manual scavenging highlights the persistent failure in implementation of, this is a UPSC mains question, implementing the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavenger and their Rehabilitation Act 2013. Critically analyze the challenges in eradicating manual scavenging and suggest measures for effective implementation. So we have covered a lot related to this in the news. I've added certain pointers also for you from the point of view and given you a basic structure. So this is an expected line of answer. Obviously, you don't need to copy paste this. This is just giving you how you should proceed with it, or to proceed with the answer. So in this expected line of answer, you're getting an introduction, body and conclusion. You can pick up your points and write answers, and some of the answers you can also paste in the comment section later. Okay, so this is a issue, and I've got a comment also. Sir, Bangalore initially was not designed keeping in mind high levels of population today. In what ways could the municipality or government intervene? Yes, this has been a major problem. And also, Bhuvan, you must have seen that recently this is a problem, because most of these cities, it is a major problem for Delhi also, it is a major problem for Bangalore also. The saturation is definitely happening, and the city was not designed. I think the only city designed properly was Chandigarh, and that is how, if you go in Chandigarh, you will hardly see any traffic jams. There is not. So infrastructure, urban infrastructure creation has to be very much planned. So we are talking about smart cities, but how much implementation is on the ground, that is questionable. Second is, recently the Coldplay show happened in Ahmedabad, and it was a huge success. And lot of people who went there, you know, the people from different parts of the country, and they said that Ahmedabad has been very much properly planned. So until unless government intervenes and the municipal corporation, you know, they need to act and work upon it. See, if this municipal corporation, if manual scavenging is happening, definitely municipal corporation knows it is happening, but they are not putting any effort to stop it. And that is where the problem is basically lying. So this is something which we need to work upon. Manual scavengers face inequality. The government must ensure protection, dignity and rehabilitation while ending discrimination against marginalized communities. Absolutely, absolutely. There is no doubt about this. Until unless you do it, then talking about this fraternity, dignity, equality, this is all useless, because at the same point of time, you are forcing a person to go in a sewer to take out garbage, and he's dying of lack of oxygen or asphyxiation. Obviously, very good points by Bhuvan and Parikshit. I will ask other also to put their points. It's important that you put your points and views in the comment section, in the chat section. So certain pointers have been added. So moving towards the next important news, that is ISRO's 100th launch lifts NAVIC satellites. Okay. So this happened. So GSLV F-50 lifting from Satish Dhawan Center in Sriharikota, that is in Andhra Pradesh. So, and it has been wonderfully placing NVS-02 satellite, which is part of the NAVIC system. So NAVIC stands for your navigation with Indian constellation. So it is basically giving you, like, the America has GPS, Russia has GLONASS, China has BeiDou, and similarly India has NAVIC system. So it is more, it is for dual purposes only, or for civilian and military purposes, but from the point of view of strategy, strategic use of the NAVIC system is very important. So it was initially, it's called Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, IRNSS, one of the very favorite topics of UPSC in prelims also and in mains also. And IRNSS is also known as NAVIC system, which is navigation with Indian constellation. So around 7 satellites would be there, and I think 1 or 2 were not functioning. Now we have come with the second generation of these satellites which are being put, which are even much better. So it is an independent, standalone, indigenous navigation satellite system developed by ISRO. Now there is a bit of story regarding that. Why do we need the NAVIC system? So around the 1999 Kargil war, we needed the, we wanted to use the GPS system of America for to finding out the Pakistani army and Pakistani intruders. But at that point of time, the Americans denied that technology of GPS giving to us in 1999 Kargil war, and after that it became very important that we need to have our own indigenous NAVIC system or indigenous regional navigation satellite system, and that is how your IRNSS or NAVIC system came. And again, the necessity is mother of all inventions. So 1999 Kargil war taught that you cannot be dependent on America for this kind of technology. Similarly, if you see, the Americans they were trying to ban the artificial intelligence technology to China, so China came with DeepSeek. So necessity is the mother of all invention. Around 1998, 1999, when we do Pokhran test, again, lot of sanctions were put on ISRO and many other organizations. Eventually, we created our own indigenous technologies. So certain times this kind of bans and everything lead to wonderful things, and NAVIC is that wonderful thing which happened because of the Americans not giving the GPS technology, and hence we are here. So IRNSS NAVIC project became operational in 2018. NAVIC was conceived to remove dependence on satellite system of other countries like GPS of America, or for that matter, there are many other systems. I've told you GLONASS is there, Europe has a system, and China also has. So for navigation, specifically strategic sectors, and when I talk about strategic sectors, see, giving GPS for civilian use is fine, but when it comes to strategic sector, it becomes military in nature. So military they don't want to give for. So anything which becomes strategic, it becomes military and security point of view important, and most of the countries in the world might not give it. And that is the same rule which applies, that today we are buying weapons from other countries. They are today giving you weapons. Here you might need to use them against an adversary country like China or Pakistan. But tomorrow that China becomes in tandem friends with the country which is supplying weapons to you, they might not supply you armaments or more weapons in the time of war. So it is very important that you do research and development and make your own technology. Otherwise, this problem will be persisting. So NVS-02 is part of navigation with Indian constellation NAVIC, which provides position. This is called PVT system. It provides PVT, that is position, velocity and timing. So it provides PVT services. So that is NVS-02 is the satellite which has been launched by ISRO this time, which we are talking about. And this provides PVT, position, velocity and time. Obviously, from the point of view of your standard positioning system, it is very important. So NAVIC primary service extends 1500 kilometers. So 1500 kilometers beyond the Indian landmass. So beyond the Indian landmass. So it is not global positioning system that it will work on entirely globe. Our NAVIC system is working on two important parameters, that is SPS, standard positioning system, position accuracy better than 20 meters, and second is restricted services which would be given to authorized users only. So it is working on those two. So restricted user and SPS services, and 1500 kilometers beyond the Indian landmass it would be working. So it's not working globally. It is around the near about Indian landmass and 1500 kilometers beyond it. So this was the launch of five second generation NAVIC satellite is planned to enhance service continuity and strengthen the navigation ecosystem. Because currently some of the navigation, there are around 7 satellites. Some of these satellites have not been working properly, and that is why you need to send new satellites, and we are sending the second generation satellite which will be better than the first generation, giving a better positioning system. Okay. So what do you think about this? Do you think this is a positive news that we are working wonderfully with technology in terms of satellites? So ISRO, this is the main news. ISRO celebrated a significant milestone with 100th mission, the launch of GSLV F-15 carrying NVS-02 navigation satellite, giving the PVT services, position, velocity, time from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shri Harikota, AP. The launch reinforces India's capability in regional navigation and again focus on indigenous technology, make in India. And I've told you the brief about it, why this program eventually started, culminating around in 2013 and giving us regional navigation satellite communication. And from the point of view of military and strategy, very, very important, because any country in the world will not give you, probably at the time of war, just like America denied at the time of the Kargil war. So GSLV F-15 launched and placed NVS-02 in geosynchronous transfer orbit. So it was in GTO orbit within 19 minutes. It marked 100th launch and accomplishment celebrated by, this is now ISRO's new chairman, ISRO's chairman V. Narayanan. So ISRO's new chairman name is V. Narayanan. He has recently taken over the chair. ISRO chairman V. Narayanan. So he has given some important statements, and this is a statement which you can also use in your UPSC mains also. In your UPSC mains, where you need to write certain data about the achievement of ISRO. So certain facts have been given. By now ISRO has successfully launched 548 satellites, including 433 foreign satellites, carrying total payload of 120 tons over the course of 100 missions. So 100 missions have been done by now. 548 satellites have been successfully launched, which includes 433 foreign satellites. So when you are able to launch foreign satellites, then you are also putting yourself in the international market, and with such a successful completion, you become a very important vendor which can give services in the space sector. Now space, as the industry goes, it will eventually become, it is already a billion-dollar industry. If in future it will increase as we go towards the exploration towards Mars and many other planets. And as ISRO is expanding, we are also thinking about India to have its own space station in space, as International Space Station would be coming down. So all these missions, this gives a good amount of energy, it gives a good amount of knowledge to us. Plus, if we are launching foreign satellites, we are also generating a huge amount of revenue which will fund us. Okay. So one important, sir, IRNS should be used for strategic system because US and Russia are constellation of satellite earning early warnings in India and more deterrent. Absolutely against China and Russia. But US has around 31 satellites, so probably we can also increase our number of satellites for more wider coverage. Okay. So the current mission utilized indigenous cryogenic stage in GSLV F-15, showcasing technological advancement. Now cryogenic is also one of the very important story. So we needed cryogenic technology, and after the Pokhran, this was banned for us. So India was almost on the talks with Russia. Russia was willing to give the cryogenic technology to us, but because of the pressure of Americans, we could not get the cryogenic technology. Now cryogenic is a very complex technology. Liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen is used in this, but this is used at a very low and a very cold temperature, and that is why it becomes very complex in nature. So because of the extremely low temperature at which the propellants are used, your liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen are used for this purpose, for space launch vehicle. So this is your indigenous cryogenic. Second is that we have been able to come up with second indigenous atomic clock, which was used Make in India. Now atomic clock gives you it is a very high accurate clock, and it works on atoms. So it is an advanced timekeeping, utilize the natural vibration of atoms, and in space the time is very important. It's not like that you can use my watch or your watch, and that is why you use atomic clocks. So natural vibration of atom to measure time with exceptional accuracy. In India also you have two atomic clocks. One is at Ahmedabad and second is at Faridabad. And this system of atomic clocks was designed in 1955 by Louis Asson. So Louis Asson in 1955 had come up with atomic clocks. And secondly, in atomic clocks also, which I have just told you, that it is in Ahmedabad and Faridabad, and it is for high accuracy of time based on the natural vibrations of atom. So this has also been there. Cryogenic stage has been there. Second engine is atomic clock. So in technology, ISRO has proven it again and again how they are moving. So this cryogenic stage which we are talking about, atomic clocks, again very important from prelims perspective. Okay. Moving further into this. So NAVIC serve as the backbone of India's satellite navigation. I think that is obviously it is the backbone. There is no doubt about it, though we were late in implementing it. But anyhow, we have this system supporting personal navigation services in the country. It enhances indigenous capabilities. Obviously, we've made it on our own, so it shows our indigenous capability. In weapon systems also, we are now doing a lot of indigenous. We are procuring a lot of weapons from outside, but there has been a negative list that under this list, whatever there is a negative list which has been created, and whatever armaments or system which are placed on that we will not be ordering from outside. We will be making on our own, and we have been quite successful in that. So continued deployment of NVS series satellites. by GSLV aims to strengthen India's navigation infrastructure and support various civilian and strategic applications. So both civilian and strategic application, but NAVIC was mainly made from the point of view of strategic application because the story started like that. If you go back in the story, I told you at the time of that, the armed forces needed the GPS system for tracking the Pakistani intruders, and we were not able to get that from America, and eventually this entire system comes. So from the strategic application point of view, it is very, very important. And obviously this 100 mission which has put NVC02 satellite system, this shows self-reliance, indigenization, and the competence of ISRO in doing it. And I beg your pardon, and I am very sure from Gaganyaan to Aditya, all these missions, the competence, Chandrayaan mission, the competence of ISRO is growing day by day, and we are creating and doing these missions at fractions of cost compared to the Americans and Europeans, and this shows the resourcefulness of ISRO also. So NAVIC system not only enhances regional navigation system but also strengthens India's positioning in the global space order, in the global space hegemony, and India is a very important partner. India is a very important country when it comes to space market and space technology also, for that matter. So, and most importantly, we are doing that indigenously. So let's come to a question regarding this news. NAVIC provides coverage over the entire globe for positioning, velocity and time PBT services. Not over entire globe. It is only Indian mass plus 1500 more kilometers. So first statement is wrong. NAVIC offers both standard positioning system and restrictive services. Correct. NAVIC satellites are launched exclusively using India's polar satellite. No, it was not PSLV. We saw not exclusively PSLV. We are using GSLV. We just saw Geo Orbit. We just saw. Okay. So the correct answer to this question should be B. Okay, before I proceed to the next news, some important comments are there. It's saying manual scavengers. Okay, sir, we recently praised Kumbh Mela safety, but sadly a stampede claimed 30 lives. The government must take stronger measure to prevent tragedies in the future. Absolutely, absolutely. We had praised Kumbh Mela in the class also, that how it is being implemented. But again, the government was able to tell that they were going to some particular ghat and that problem happened. But anyways, public will go haywire, but that's the job of the administration. And I agree that this is a tough thing, because by now I think 14 lakh or 15 lakh people have taken their dip. It is tough task for the administration. But at the same time, this is for administration is there, this is for the government is there, and the central and state government need to put an effort so that these incidents does not happen, because it tampers or it sheds a black spot on the image. By now, Mahakumbh everyone was talking about, but every now and then when we'll talk about, we'll also talk about this stampede, and stampede has been a problem. It happened in that Pushpa 2 case also. Stampede has happened in multiple areas. It has happened somewhere around temples. So this is a constant problem, though huge amount of administration has been put in Mahakumbh regarding this, but more efforts needs to be there. And Parikshit, you are right about this. Okay. Now moving to the next important news, that is rooftop solar installation scheme reaches 8.5% of 1 crore house target. So 1 crore house target was there, but we are far, far behind it. Only 8.5% has been achieved. So in manual scavengers, the governments are not able to implement the act. And similarly out here, we came up with a scheme called Prime Minister Surya Ghar scheme. So we came up with this scheme that this should be implemented, but the implementation has been quite poor. Only 8.5% target has been achieved. The ministry is saying that in 2024 to 2025, the implementation would be better. The speed has increased. But again, when you ask them the speed has increased, the question is that why was not that implemented earlier only? Okay. So it was launched with 75,000 crore budget, aims to provide rooftop solar installation for 1 crore households across India, basically moving towards renewable energy. We have a target of 50 gigawatts when it comes to renewable energy, but again, we are pretty much lacking out here. So, however, as of now, only 8.5 lakh households have installed solar connections, accounting for just 8.5% of the target. So, we are far behind it. The target is 1 crore, only 8.5 lakh installations have happened. So, Minister for New and Renewable Energy stated that the target will be likely to met within 2 to 3 years, despite initial slow progress. So, Minister is very confident in the next 2 to 3 years he would be able to implement it. So we will get to know that he is able to implement, or the ministry is able to implement, or the center is able to implement only in the coming days. So right now we have certain facts in front of us that we are getting delayed and the speed has bit increased. So let's see in 2 to 3 years how we increase our speed. Probably like the Ministry of Road, which has been able to implement national highways and roads, and they have been on a great speed, and also the national highways connecting on the border areas, they have done a tremendous work. So certain inspiration can be taken from them and implemented here. Now the scheme which I am talking about, this is very important, PM Surya Ghar scheme. This was launched on Ram Temple inauguration in Ayodhya in February 2024. So again, it's almost, you know, we are almost close to 1 year from the inauguration of the scheme. Okay, officially launched by the scheme. So Parliamentary Standing Committee on Energy noted a slow pace of installation. Only 5 lakh installation completed out of 20 lakh application by October 2023. So 20 lakh applications were put, only 5 lakh has been completed. Around 8 to 9% of the target has been achieved. Speed has to increase. As per the ministry, the speed has increased. Now the daily installation has moved from 3,000 to 9,000, showing progress. And he is saying that in the coming 2 to 3 years, the numbers will increase and they will be able to do the target. Now moving apart from, you know, what is happening in the scheme, there are certain important subsidy which is given in the scheme. For example, if you are installing till 2 kilowatt, you will subsidize, the government will subsidize 60% of the cost of solar system. This is again a focus for the government towards climate change, that, you know, how India is implementing and the targets under the SDG 2030. So in this, if you take till 2 kilowatt, you will get 60% subsidy from government. If you take additional capacity up to 3 kilowatt, you will get 40% additional capacity from on subsidy. And when you talk about subsidy also, it's not that you can get unlimited amount of money of subsidy. That is also put a cap. For example, on 1 kilowatt of system, maximum subsidy is 30,000 rupees. On 2 kilowatt of system, you can get 60,000 rupees, and for 3 kilowatt of systems or higher, you can get 78,000. So 78,000 is the highest subsidy cap which you can get. It's not like you will get unlimited subsidy. Okay, so 78,000 is the one which you will get. So India plans to add 50 gigawatt of renewable capacity annually in the coming years. That's the target. For that, the implementation needs to be faster, and India is also part of International Solar Alliance. From that point of view also, since we are one of the pioneer countries in that, our implementation on the ground for solar energy needs to be top notch so that the world also watches it. So installed renewable energy capacity has risen by 200% in the past decade, from 75 gigawatt to 220 gigawatt today. Solar energy tariffs have dropped by 80%. Okay, these two are good things. These two are good news. From 75 gigawatt to 220 gigawatt, we have increased, and solar energy tariffs, solar energy taxes have dropped by 80%, making India one of the most global leader in affordable solar energy. So certain parameters we are working good, but implementation of the scheme on ground will help us going long way. So the scheme represents major steps in transition to clean energy, but the implementation has not been correct. Once the implementation happens, it would be better. More awareness, efficient execution, and faster subsidy disbursement should be there. If the subsidy is fastly dispersed, more and more people would be there. If the subsidy which they should get in January, they are getting by next year, then probably many people will not want to put their money. They will feel that, you know, that the subsidy is not coming. So as of now, this time first, under the stipulated time frame, this needs to be there. Coming to the question, scheme provides 60% subsidy for all rooftop solar installation regardless of capacity. It was officially launched in February 2024 with a target of installing 1 crore solar rooftops. The subsidy amount is capped at 3 kilowatt subsidy. The scheme provides 60% subsidy for all rooftop solar installation. No, it's not regardless of capacity, right? There is capacity which 2 kilowatt and 3 kilowatt. So one statement is wrong. So automatically you get the answer B. 2 and 3 statements are right. Answer is B. Okay. So B. So obviously your capacity is 3 kilowatt. It's not that you can get, I just told you about that subsidy. And the 25th January, our IPM 1.0, that is the integrated prelims cum test series, has started. You can join this, where you will get prelim test series and also the main test series, 106 tests in total. And for all details, you can also call on the number 8069 40 5205, or all you can scan this QR code for all details. Let's move towards the editorial for today. Okay. So in today's editorial, we'll be talking about MGNREGA scheme. So MGNREGA should not be let down by funding issues and wage delays. As per the editorial and author, the person thinks that the editorial is saying that the current government, they are deliberately not focusing on MGNREGA. They are not giving wages as per the inflation. There has been delay in wages, and because of that, rural population is now not interested in MGNREGA scheme. So MGNREGA scheme basically came in 2005. It was launched in 2005, and it was largest work guarantee program in the world, launched in 2005. Multiple articles were written about it, and it was one of the successful schemes of the government, and there is no doubt about it. It actually generated a huge amount of employment opportunities for rural household. So what under this scheme, it came in 2005. It was the world's largest work guarantee program in the world. It was focusing on the rural area, and the primary objective of this scheme was giving 100 days of work in every financial year to the adult member of any rural household. To adult member of any rural, the word important is rural household. So 100 days of work should be given to any adult member of a rural household within one financial year, willing to do public work related unskilled manual work. So it would be public work that given by the government, public work related to unskilled manual. So it was unskilled manual work, and as of if we go back in data, by 2022 to 2023, people enrolled in the scheme were 15.4 crore active workers. Now the problem which is happening in MGNREGA is that the wages have not been increased as per inflation, and the focus of the government has not been on the scheme. So as per the editorial, that this probably was since it was started by the Congress or UPA, and the current NDA government is not interested in carrying that. That is one of the allegations as per the editorial. And the second important thing is that now those job cards and all those cards integration with Aadhaar is important. That is also one of the problems in people opting out of the MGNREGA scheme. So MGNREGA stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Earlier it was known as NREGA scheme. Then later on MG was also added, so it became MGNREGA scheme. It has remained a crucial welfare program for nearly 2 decades despite changes in the government. See, what happens is that when various governments come, they have a very different point of view. For example, the current government thinks that this unskilled labor is quite useless. Rather than giving, so they are focusing on that, start giving rural people also skill set as the world is changing. If we are talking about deep seek and so much of technology, I'm not saying people out there, they need to be given skill sets. Obviously, they can be given once they have all the education standards meeting it. But the current government focuses is that we need to give more skill set rather than doing this unskilled labor. So that is the current government point of view, that focusing on it, which I probably feel. So that might be one of the reasons, because multiple statement has also come from the government that they are funding the MGNREGA scheme, but their main focus is not, because this is unskilled labor. They're focusing on skilled labor. That is how the country will grow. Because if you're talking about China +1 and we want that we compete with China, that will not happen by doing unskilled labor. You need to have skilled labor, then only you can compete with the world market. Otherwise, the top companies are not coming to India. So I think that is one of the viewpoints of the government. Okay, so I want your opinion also, that what do you think, the government should focus on unskilled labor in rural areas, or you feel that the rural areas should be given some skill set to them, and they can increase their salary, because skill set from the point of view of computers to different other things which are existing, that can be better. So please tell me in the chat section, what do you feel about it? So initially seen as a legacy of different political regime, basically UPA government they're talking about, the scheme has provided indispensable, especially during crises like COVID-19. Now COVID-19 was very different. The world is changing right now. It provided a lifeline to rural workers and migrant laborers. But today this is changing. Okay. So under the current administration, MGNREGA is being treated as unwanted necessity, evident in shrinking budget allocation and wage payment delays, because the government focus is not on this. Government focus is more towards other schemes and other skill sets. So as I feel that the different governments have different viewpoints. So probably both of them are right, but at the end of the day, it will be the government which will choose what they want to. So allocation of MGNREGA has steadily declined from 3.2% of the budget in financial year 2021 to 1.78% in 2025. So the budget of the MGNREGA scheme is coming down. As I told you, the current government dispensation focus is not on unskilled labor. They focus on more toward the skill sets, and that is why you can create huge amount of employment opportunities if we want to grow like Southeast Asian, ASEAN countries or China. Unskilled labor cannot help you grow. So that might be one of the focal points of the current government to grow. They are thinking very differently, which might not be matching the previous UPA government thought process. So Rural Development Ministry lacks, see, basically they don't have funds. 4135 crore is their payments, lacking this amount of funds. 5715 crore for material costs. Despite demand driven, no extra funds have been allocated this financial year. This basically tells that this current government dispensation is not focusing on unskilled labor and MGNREGA. Their focus is on other schemes and focus on the skill sets or the schemes they are coming with. This always happens. Okay, so delayed wage payment discourage rural workers. Obviously, if you now don't get wage payment on time. Second important issue which is happening in MGNREGA is that the wages have not increased as per inflation. For that matter, that is not a problem of MGNREGA, that is a problem of entire country. The wages even in the corporate sector has not increased as per the inflation. The top management and CEOs, they are making huge amount of wealth generation, but that wealth generation, that money is not trickling down to other employees of the company. And that is why urban spending is also reduced, and because of this urban spending reduced, we are seeing that the economy is also becoming sluggish in nature. So this is not only a problem of MGNREGA, this is a problem which India itself is facing, that the corporate employees, people working in various sectors, they are not able to generate good amount of income. Though their bosses might be able to generate, but the money is not coming to them. So this problem of wages not increasing with inflation, this is a problem of not only MGNREGA, this is a problem of total of Indian economy which is right now. And that is why probably in the coming MPC policies, we might see repo rate coming down if the RBI is able to control inflation. So if you see, the sluggish economy problems are definitely there. So need for wage adjustment and Aadhaar issues. I've told you that integration with Aadhaar has also been one of the problems because of which many people are opting out of MGNREGA. Then wages are being delayed and wages are not as per the current inflation rate, and many people are opting out of this. So impact on rural economy and poverty reduction has been instrumental in rural poverty elevation. Yes, MGNREGA definitely did help people coming out of the rural poverty and poverty elevation. It was very successful, but the current government feels that there should be different schemes in implementing it. But as per the author, we still need to work upon it. Till the time more skill set based schemes can be implemented, at least MGNREGA should be the focus. So that's the point of view of the editorial, that we still need to continue. At the same time, more schemes come which can eventually replace MGNREGA. I think that is what is going on. So scheme aids in village infrastructure development, irrigation canals, rural roads and water conservation facilities. But at the same time, the current government feels very much otherwise. And this increases rural disposable income, and as per the current trend, the rural spending has been much better than the urban spending, which is helping the economy to grow. So from that point of view, if the MGNREGA is continuing and people in rural areas are able to get more disposable income, so at least if the rural spending would be high, economy would be still moving in a better direction till the time we are able to find solution to urban spending problem which has been reduced. So in that context, obviously the author is correct. Okay, from the economic point of view. So MGNREGA remains a critical social security program for rural India. Probably the current government might be thinking otherwise. So union government reconsidered an approach ensuring adequate budget allocation in terms of center giving or the state giving, giving the salaries on time, wages matching the inflation rate, and focus of the government should increase. So right now the total budget allocation has been reduced. The author talks about the editorial that needs to be increased. This is a very important scheme from the point of view of rural disposable income and how the rural growth happens, rural economy improves. So let's see what eventually the government decides. The budget is expected to come, I think within 1 week or 5-10 days it should come, and then we would be able to see what exactly happens. I hope some income tax reduction definitely happens in this budget. So we've got a question on this. MGNREGA is a demand-driven scheme that guarantees a minimum of 200 days. Not 200 days, only 100 days. Wage payment under the scheme must be made within 15 days of work completion, correct? Now forget about 15 days, it's getting delayed. So then definitely people will be going out. Scheme primarily focus on urban employment, not urban, rural. So this is your B statement is correct. Answer is B. Statement 2. Okay. Now we've also given a mains questions. Discuss the role of MGNREGA in rural employment and poverty elevation. What challenges does the scheme currently face and how they can be addressed? 150 words. I've given you again a sample mains answer to this. It has an introduction, it has a body, it has a conclusion. Obviously, you don't need to copy paste this. This is just giving you some pointers on which your answer can be based. So certain important comments are there. Oh, lot of comments are there. So by 2030, India aims for 500 gigawatt solar capacity shifting to renewables. This will reduce coal dependence, and we hope that the government successfully. Yes, the government should integrate skill program with better jobs. Skill programs with better jobs. This would boost the economy more than MGNREGA expenditure alone. Correct. Government basic skill set training in various skills worked under the NCDC, and those who get this certificate go work in companies like Urban Clap where they earn better money. This is exactly, Bhuvan, the point, that they go in Urban Clap and make much more money. Once people acquire skills and job dependence on MGNREGA will reduce, leading to better livelihoods and stronger economy. Exactly, because in MGNREGA you get a very basic amount of income, but if you get a good amount of skill set, you can work in so many companies, gig workers, all this is available where you will make much more money and a better lifestyle than that doing that MGNREGA scheme. Good pointers, everyone. So Parikshit and Bhuvan, wonderful points which you have given. So that can also be added to the answer. So in the extra mile, this is an extra article which you can go through. Broken promises in the warming world. This is related to the America has come out of the climate change and the issue starts. You can also follow ICANN 2.0, which is taken by Sapna ma'am. Thank you very much. I hope you did learn in the lecture a lot of things. Please like and share the session, and also do put your comments, like what do you think is, you can also put your answers here, and what do you think is the most important issue which we should cover. Thank you very much. Take care and Jai Hind.